Most vehicles are remembered for how powerful they were. This one was remembered for how long it refused to quit. On paper, it didn't make sense. 80 horsepower, bias-ply tires, a name most Americans mispronounced. But somewhere between Los Angeles traffic and 14-hour taxi shifts, something extraordinary happened. Because sometimes performance isn't about horsepower. Sometimes it's about endurance. Mid-1960s, America worshipped power. V8 engines, 4-barrel carburetors, chrome stretching for miles. Family sedans weighed nearly 2 tons. Gas was cheap. Repairs were normal. Valve jobs at 40,000 miles. Transmission rebuilds at 60 by 100,000. Most cars were tired. That wasn't failure. That was expectation. And then a small Japanese sedan quietly entered the conversation. The Toyota Corona. When Toyota first tried selling cars in America in the late 1950s, it didn't go well. Their early models overheated climbing California highways. They struggled to maintain speed. Dealers quietly sent them back. Toyota retreated. Not in defeat, but in study. Engineers dissected every complaint, every failure, every returned part. They embraced something called kaizen, continuous improvement. Not marketing improvement, not styling improvement, mechanical improvement. By the time the third-generation Corona arrived in the mid-1960s, it wasn't flashy. It wasn't fast. It wasn't even particularly beautiful. But it was intentional. Under the hood sat a 1.9-liter inline-4, 80 horsepower, 1 carburetor, low compression, cast-iron block with thick cylinder walls. On paper, it looked underpowered. In reality, it was understressed. Every internal component operated far below its maximum capacity. The crankshaft was forged and carefully balanced. The connecting rods were strengthened. The pistons expanded evenly across temperature swings. Nothing was pushed to the limit. That was the point. The transmission followed the same philosophy. 3 speeds. Columns shifted. Wide ratios matched perfectly to the engine's narrow power band. Not exciting, but precise. The synchronizers were robust, the gears thick, the clutch durable enough for stop-and-go punishment. It wasn't designed for drag strips. It was designed for repetition, suspension. Simple. Independent front with coil springs. Solid rear axle with leaf springs. No complexity, no fragile innovation. Just proven geometry executed carefully. The bias-ply tires, often mocked, were chosen for longevity. Narrow contact patches reduced rolling resistance. Tall sidewalls absorbed broken pavement. Tread patterns favored wear, not grip. Where American cars chewed through tires, the Corona conserved them. But the true proving ground wasn't suburban driveways. It was Los Angeles taxi service, 300 miles a day, 7 days a week, constant idling, hard freeway merges, doors slammed, trunks loaded. If a car had weakness, this environment exposed it. Taxi companies initially bought Coronas for one simple reason: price. They were affordable, cheap enough to experiment with. No one expected what followed. Month after month, the Coronas required nothing but oil changes, while larger American sedans cycled through water pumps, alternators, and transmission repairs. The little Toyota kept running. At 50,000 miles, mechanics waited for the usual failures. They didn't come. Compression tests showed engines still within factory specification. At 100,000 miles, the traditional end of life for many cars, the Corona was barely warmed up. Original engines, original transmissions, original clutches. It wasn't surviving. It was thriving. Fuel economy told another story. In brutal city duty, the Corona achieved around 25 miles per gallon. Its American counterparts struggled to reach half that. At 300 miles a day, the difference compounded quickly. Less fuel, Fewer breakdowns, less downtime. For taxi operators, reliability wasn't romantic. It was financial survival. And the Corona delivered. Some examples went beyond 300,000 miles, then 400,000. Engines opened for inspection still showed visible factory cross-hatching inside cylinder walls. Bearings within tolerance. Valve trains barely worn. This wasn't myth. It was mechanical discipline. Toyota's manufacturing philosophy reinforced it. Every engine was tested before installation. Workers had authority to stop the production line if something felt wrong. Problems were studied at their source. Parts were standardized. Fasteners reduced to a handful of sizes. Components designed so they could only assemble correctly. Errors weren't fixed later. They were prevented. The Corona's simplicity became its greatest strength. Manual steering never leaked. Manual windows never jammed halfway down. Mechanical regulators could be serviced, not replaced. Electrical systems were robust and minimal. Cooling systems oversized to prevent overheating. Radiators larger than strictly necessary. Water pumps built from durable materials. Hoses reinforced. Toyota engineered margin into everything. Margin meant longevity. Detroit underestimated it. Executives dismissed it as small and slow. They emphasized horsepower and styling. But Corona buyers valued something else entirely: dependability. A car that started every morning, ran all day, and didn't demand repair bills. Taxi drivers became unlikely ambassadors. Word spread if professionals who depended on their vehicles chose an 80-horsepower sedan over larger domestic cars. That wasn't marketing. That was evidence. The Corona didn't win through dominance. It won through consistency. It didn't overwhelm competitors. It outlasted them. And in doing so, it forced an industry to evolve. American manufacturers eventually improved quality control, extended warranties, reduced defect rates. But the shift had already begun. Reliability became a selling point, not an afterthought. Looking back, the Corona seems almost primitive. Drum brakes, no power accessories in base models, minimal insulation. But its simplicity was deliberate. Fewer systems meant fewer failure points. Mechanical accessibility meant long-term serviceability. It wasn't future-proof through technology. It was future-proof through restraint. The philosophical lesson remains relevant. Performance can mean speed, or power, or luxury. But sometimes, performance means showing up every single day without complaint. The Corona redefined expectations. 300,000 miles stopped sounding impossible. 200,000 became normal. Longevity became a benchmark. It didn't conquer America with noise. It did it quietly, one reliable mile at a time. And that quiet revolution reshaped the global automotive landscape, not through aggression, but through endurance. Because the 1960s taught us something unexpected. David doesn't always win with a slingshot. Sometimes, he wins by simply refusing to break. If you appreciate stories like this, where engineering discipline quietly changes the world, make sure to like the video and subscribe. There's more waiting. And the next time you see a high-mileage Toyota still running without drama, remember where that reputation began, with 80 horsepower and a refusal to fail.